Well, over the last year, it's become pretty rare that I'm one of the early people to get any of the new product. I don't know, distribution issues, but I am actually tickled this time around to have this guy. It is the new Kingdom Red Alert, and he's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor. All the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, all of those links are down in the description below. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. And this is the new Kingdom Red Alert. Now, there's a lot here familiar. If you know the Siege mold, there's a ton here familiar. However, there is definitely some remolding that is not familiar and definitely some differentiation to the coloration. There's a fair amount here that I want to compare to the earlier Siege mold. I don't have Siege Red Alert. I did review it. It wasn't mine. I don't have it. But I will compare it to that mold. I'll also compare it to the classics as we go through and see how this guy kind of stacks up. What surprised me most is something that I discovered about the value for money here. And you know me, I'm all about the value for money. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And in a super strange and unexpected turn of events, we actually have Kingdom Red Alert. I am so happy I was able to get this guy. This is basically the version of this mold that I was waiting for all through Siege, and I am actually more surprised with this than I expected. Not because of the transformation or anything, because essentially it's the same thing. We'll compare it in just a little bit. But there is something very important here for somebody like me who's all about that value for your dollar that is very important. But before we get to Red Alert himself, let's take a look at the packaging first. And man, we have Red Alert here and up here. The art looks fine, I guess. I mean, it's your typical Kingdom art. I'm kind of surprised that this is an exclusive because there's nothing on it indicating some sort of subline. You know, like the Cybertronian villains was a subline or whatever, you know? Of course, on this side over here, we have your typical Kingdom artwork, and we have the product images, of course, on the back. We got ourselves some dandy instructions. Nothing here is going to surprise you if you know the Siege mold and the Siege transformation and, you know, how the light bar goes into the blaster to become an axe and all that stuff. And there's the shoulder launcher. The red, I call it missile, is actually cast in white. That is red paint. This is the exact same missile and launcher that we know from Siege very, very well. I'm pretty sure that this is the same blaster that came with Red Alert in Siege, and it's the blaster that we've seen like innumerable times with other characters. I do believe that the light bar is new, and I think that that white is painted because all this seems to be translucent plastic. I mean, axe, but I'm never gonna do this. And let's deal with the elephant in the room right away. Naturally, this is a remold of the earlier Siege mold. There's a lot of reused parts here. The shoulders, the biceps, the arms, the hands, the thighs, the pelvis, I think the lower tummy, the lower legs, the feet, all seem to be reused. The only real differences come in terms of the remolding for the actual vehicle mode. There are new doors, there's a new hood, there's kind of like new side and back pieces to the legs. Like if I turn side on, you can see that the molding is slightly different. Back on, again, you can see that the molding is slightly different. The back section here and here is the exact same as best as I can tell. It's just we have more paint put on the other one. The real big difference comes in the doors. Not that they transform any different or anything, it's just they're molded quite differently, and I do find it more secure. That being said, while I do love the Netflix deep cover here, who I use as Vanguard, which is why he has the two blasters up here. I talked about that a long time ago. I do like a couple of things about the Siege one slightly better, but there's one important thing that I do very much want to note. Now we all know I'm a heavy value for money type of guy, and here we have the Classics Universe Red Alert as well as the new Kingdom Red Alert. And here is a fun fact. A long time ago, I sort of knocked the original Siege mold because I didn't really like the way the feet transformed. I felt like they were going to break, and I felt like that this was smaller and less mass for our buying dollar when there had been a huge increase. Well, this time around, I'm kind of happy to say that the mass is exactly the same. This guy clocked in at 94 grams. This guy, with all of his parts and bits and pieces, being the light bar, being the blaster, being the shoulder cannon and whatnot, also came in at 94 grams. Exact same mass. I can kind of take the fact that we had that price hike a couple of years ago. The most recent one, not so palpable. But I do feel like, just barely, just eking, that this Red Alert is still value for money. That being said, I don't think they can go any higher. I really don't. And I think it's debatable just how value for money this is. And here's why. To me, this is pretty great. But if you already have the Siege or the Netflix Siege, and especially if you have like the toy hack set that kind of earth modes it up, I don't think you need this. I really don't think that there's enough of a difference for that. If you just have the Siege and you really want a more earthy mode and don't have the toy hack set to kind of upgrade that one, then I do think you might want this one. If you prefer the like bright shade of red compared to the darker, more crimson-y type of red that was in the Siege, or you prefer the like eye-popping, like snow bright white compared to the like more muted white, then yes, you might want to get this guy. If I had the Siege and I had the toy hacks, I would not have been in for this guy. However, though I reviewed those items, I don't have them because I didn't want to have to get something extra to get an Earth mode. This is what I was waiting for. What about scores for the guy? Well, the look of him actually, I'm going to say is about an 8.5. The thighs, now remember I'm an animation guy. The thighs for me should be white. To anybody who is going by the like G1 release, the thighs being red is fine. But even then, it used to bother me as a kid. I wanted the white thighs like on the show. So the thighs should be white, the feet here are gray, the feet should be white. On the arms, the square up here I think should be black, the bicep should be red, and I think the forearm should be white. I think that's about as, considering we don't have actual door wings here, I think that that's about as close as we would be able to get to having this guy be like super duper accurate. As it is, you definitely know it's Red Alert, there's no mistaking it. But the thighs and the arms, they are slightly off. So I'm going to say 8.5. Plus, I think his launcher, instead of being black, should be white. And I believe his blaster should be red. So there are still things that could be improved here. Am I going to bother to custom paint this? I don't know. I don't think so. My gut is telling me, I don't think I'm going to bother. But I guess we'll see in time. Taking both of this off of it, 8.5, still a decent start. And again, that's only because I'm an animation junkie, you know? If you are like a G1 toy release guy, then this is probably more up your alley, though you would probably wish that these arms were chromed. The head, as always, is left and right and up and down. The shoulders still go all the way around and out to the side. The bicep has a swivel, elbow to 90 degrees. The wrist goes in, no rotation at it. We have a waist. We go back all the way with a kick. We go forward all the way. We do have an ankle tilt. Now, the way the knees are done are the exact same, but the way the molding is here means that this is your knee bend. It's not quite 90 degrees. I do find that a little bit disappointing. This is great, but it's not quite 90 degrees, and that does bother me. I'm going to say that the articulation, wrist would be nice, and a bit of a deeper knee would be nice. I'm going to say, again, it's 8.5, 9. Let's say he's at 8.75 so far before getting into the transformation. The only other thing that I kind of wanted to do a size comparison with here is next to good old Sunstreaker, so you can get an idea of kind of how this mold looks next to Sunstreaker. We do know that up and coming we have this mold as Sideswipe, and it's definitely the Sideswipe I want. So taking him back out of there, the transformation is going to be extremely similar to what you already know, with the arms folded and the hands in. I like to pick these up to the side, take the front and pick it up over, and then this comes down over the face. The doors, they open out again. This comes down and in. This comes down and in. Ooh. Just like that. Then we, of course, rotate here. We open out the legs. I'll say this. Of all the uses of this mold, I find that the tolerances for opening out the legs here are the best. Pushing the feet in feels the best. The materials feel solid. I don't feel like I'm going to break anything or do anything bad. Then we, of course, fold these up and tab them together. Also, I'll say this, for folding up over, I feel like they fold up over the best. Put this in, and of course, boom, here we have Red Alert in his car mode. And naturally, when you have a Lamborghini that is the police chief's car, that is extremely inconspicuous. Right? Right? That's what we're going with. We're saying that's inconspicuous, right? This looks good. Again, it's stylized. There's more black here than there certainly should be. Like back here where it's black, we don't have the like fire emblem on the doors. So, you know, there is a little bit, the black up right here. There is some stylization, but I think it looks good. I really do. I like it. I mean, again, you quintessentially know that it's Red Alert. I do definitely see a clamp down here. No doubt about it. I really see a clamp down repaint here. Rolls fine. I mean, there's no tolerance. You know, no space, whatever you want to call it. But like, that's kind of to be expected, I think, with the Lambo. We do have a port here and a port here. No port up on the light bar this time. So you can't take your blaster and whatever and put it up there. Not that you really should, but you could put it along the sides of the vehicle. For me, I use these more triangular pieces, and you can have one on either side, or you can put them together like this. I'm using the rectangular peg here to put his blaster on over, and then using the rounded peg of the shoulder launcher, I just stick it in right there. I feel like, not that that's good by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like that's probably better than having something going along the sides of the car. Transformation, I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to say the transformation is the best that I've experienced with this mold. And I'm saying this mold because, let's be realistic, it's really the Siege mold, right? I'm going to give it a solid... Honestly, I'm going to give it a 10. I'm going to say now, if this is what everyone has experienced with this mold all along, I think this is the best use of it. I'm saying it's a 10. He was at 8.75. Overall, this Red Alert is a 9 to a 9.25. It is a solid Red Alert. I don't think it's necessary if you already have the Siege, especially if you have the toy hacks. But if you were like me and you skipped it, or if you are someone who really does want a Cybertronian and Earth mode, then this guy is a solid get. And here we are once again. And here he is, and color me surprised. I mean, the mass is there. You need all the accessories, you need all of this paint, but the mass is there. This is like a solid entry. I like this better than the Siege. I personally like the coloration better. Some people will prefer the darker reds, and I get that. And some people will prefer the more muted white, and I get that. That's cool. But I don't feel like I'm having any issues with the feet here. I don't feel like they're going to break. I don't feel like I'm having any issues with folding the legs up. Everything is smooth, at least on my copy. That maybe results will vary. I don't know. But it does give me confidence, and it does make me more excited to get Sideswipe. The Earth mode is the mode I wanted. Do I wish that we had white on the lower arms? Yes. Do I wish we had white thighs? Yes, I do. you know, I mean, it's minor gripes, but it is still gripes. Does he look good? Yeah, he looks great. I think he looks pretty tremendous, to be honest with you. And though I didn't show it in the review, and I probably should have, he has this like brilliant, almost like blue aqua type of eye paint, like this beautiful, brilliant metallic eye paint. Some of the best that I've ever seen on the eyes of any character. I will also note here that some people have mentioned that there's a couple of QC things to watch out for. One, some people have said he doesn't come with his light bar. Mine did. Some people have said he doesn't come with his hand blaster. Mine did. So when you look at the box, if you have the luxury of looking at more than one, you should be able to look inside and see all of those. None of them are like down, hidden under, or anything like that. They should all be visible. Some people have said that there was no card with theirs. I don't think that this guy's supposed to have a card. Like, usually on that flap to the side that's folded, there's like a flap where a card is stuck down. This guy doesn't have that flap, so it doesn't really have the location for the card that I can discern. So I don't think he's supposed to have a card. If he is supposed to have a card, then mine didn't come with that. I don't care. I'm not really much of a card guy. The bottom line is this, and I said it in the review, there is definitely a market for this guy if somebody likes the colors better, or they want a Earth mode and a Cybertronian mode. Or they were like me and they held out for the Earth mode. But he's not going to be for everybody. If you have your Siege and you have the Toy Hack set that makes it an Earth mode and you're like, man, this is a quintessential Earth version of Red Alert, I'm good, then I think you're good. I think picking this up would feel somewhat redundant for you. It works for me. It's the Red Alert that I want. It's the update that I wanted from the beginning of Siege. But it's not going to be for everyone. Let me know what you think about Kingdom Red Alert. I appreciate you guys coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member, baby. While you're at it, how about hitting that subscribe button? Stick around. Have some fun with us here on the channel. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.